Robert Graham, would you please lead us in the invocation, please?
And just hit that button.
Pray. Father, we thank you for this day and thank you for the opportunity for this group to gather, Lord, and take care of the county's business. We ask that you lead, guide, and direct them, that they would do the business that you would have them to do, and to advance this county further and further as we go each and every day. And we ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2, approve the minutes from October 24th Board of Commissioner meeting. Please let me know when you've read that, gentlemen, and approved.
I make a motion.
Okay. Commissioner Soto? Okay. Have a motion, have a second. All in favor? Minutes are approved. Okay, public commentary. We would ask you to come up, raise your hand first, be recognized, name and where you live in Fannin County, and we'll keep our comments to 3 minutes each. So please raise your hand if you wish to comment. Mr. Garner?
I live in Blue Ridge. My podium presentation this evening is the most difficult I've ever put together because I'm conflicted with pluses and minuses regarding Chairman Hilton's conduct and job performance. I acknowledge these positives under his leadership: overhauling the old road department, constructing the new fire station and EMS facility, using Commissioner Johnson's idea to have department heads report to the board to get more accomplished by the department heads, and having our in-house CPA provide us with illuminating financial reports. But there's a troubling undercurrent of minuses too. Some examples are Mr. Helton does not allow citizens to question the department heads, nor does he allow post commissioners to reply to citizen concerns. And his oversight of the ongoing problems with animal control is just not acceptable. Animal control has been a foil in the side of animal rescuers and other citizens alike for a long time. And I'm puzzled by Mr. Helton's disregard for their complaints. He abides the often careless work ethic at animal control, but finds time to meddle with the tax assessors board, even as they've accompanied or accomplished the difficult task of bringing the county into compliance with state guidelines. Moreover, while Mr. Helton disregards the repeated abuse of overtime pay by an employee at animal control, he sees fit to charge a concerned citizen on a fixed income $18 to $30 a month for copies of checks written to square invoices over $4,500. These checks represent taxpayers' money and amount to several $100,000 a month. Mr. Helton is obliged to allow public access to them at no charge. Further, to compound his indifference to animal control problems reported to him, when Jan Eaton contacted him a few days ago about another bungle by animal control personnel, Mr. Helton saw fit to insult her, saying animal control has accommodated her so she can take dogs up north and sell them. Such a slur. And the instances I've already referenced reflect a vindictive, even pathological need to dominate. In 2016, Jan Eaton rescued over 1,200 dogs from euthanasia, through her transports and adopted out another 100 locally. She anticipates these figures will be surpassed in 2017. Finally, Chairman Helton's blatant, palpable insult to our area's premier companion dog rescuer cannot be overlooked. It needs to be called out and exposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. Who would like to be next? Yes, ma'am, please come up.
I'm Diane Bond. I live in Hell's Hollow, and I often foster dogs for different rescue groups.
Can't hear in the back.
I'm sorry. I'll move up closer. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. All right. I started having problems with animal control a few months ago. And I wrote 3 emails to Mr. Hilton concerning my 3 issues. I never heard anything, not a word. It was like delete, delete, it was gone. All right, the first email that I got no response from was about Mr. Patterson. I had called on a Saturday morning to go over there and take out 2 dogs. It's the only day I can go because I work. He did his best to discourage me from going. He did not want to be bothered with me. That was absolutely crystal clear. I got there anyway, I had to go. He was so rude, he was so impatient, he was high-pitched and whiny. I got the dogs and I left. I wrote the email, but it didn't do no good. So then, about a month later, I go back and get another dog. Now this dog had been advertised, pictured in the paper 3 times, been there over 30 days. He was listed as a stray, so I took him out. I'm going to pay all the vetting myself, so I'm not thinking about a nonprofit. I take him to the vet and he's microchipped. He's had a local owner for all this time. He was at Animal Control. I called the owner immediately, and I found out that just due to personal problems, they did not want the dog back. So that's okay, I'm moving forward. About a week later, I get a call from John Dillinger, and he's telling me another owner has showed up now, and they want this dog, and that I have no legal right to this dog. I must give the dog back. And I said, well, what if it's somebody like Michael Bick? And he said, it does not matter. Well, it mattered to me. And I said, I am not doing it. Then I get home and the sheriff calls me. And he's saying the same thing. You have no legal right to this dog. You need to give this dog back. He didn't care if it was Michael Bick. He didn't care if it was Al White. Just give the dog back. So now I'm thinking, I gotta get a lawyer. So before I did that, I called the Department of Agriculture guy who's in charge of animal control here. And he tells me 2 things that could have protected me and the dog if I had known. Number 1, if I had signed papers adopting the dog personally, which I would have done if I'd have been asked to, if I'd have known to. I wasn't asked to. The other thing that would have saved us is if I had signed the dog out as under a nonprofit. I didn't think about doing that because I was going to pay the bills, and the other dog's going to be transferred to New Jersey. But when we got the court records of this transaction, it turns out that somebody in animal control actually had assigned a nonprofit to this transaction. I did not know. So we actually were protected. I feel John had no right to call me and demand I give the dog back. The sheriff, who was very bullying and intimidating to me, had no right to call me at all. I didn't have to give the dog. I now had $100 in this dog. The dog got sick with kennel cough, and I take him to the vet. I treated him for heartworm preventative, or I guess I'm done. Anyway, I had $100 worth of vet bills in this dog before I was done, and I don't know, I guess I was supposed to eat that. Am I done?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bond. Who is next? Sorry, I didn't see you raise your hand there.
My name is Jim McCoy, and I live in McKeesville. We propose that the Animal Control take photocopies of people's driver's license when they pick up dogs, because there's been situations where people have picked up dogs that they're not the true owners, and if they have a driver's license of the people who actually picked up the animal, they can track down the people who actually did pick up the animal then. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Miss Eaton? Is there any, I'm going to ask a question. Is there anyone else here to speak other than issues? You can come up, Miss Eaton, but are there any other folks here with issues other than animal control?
I have some posters I want to put up before I come. These are just a Gilmer County Animal Shelter in Baker. Sorry, Patrick. Push you away. And then I have something to reach out. So you can see them up close and personal. Okay, my name is Jan Eaton, and I'm an animal rescuer by some people all the time. I pull a lot of animals out of there. I'm probably one of the few that cares enough to even go back in that place. It's horrible. You can look at the pictures and see. And so I called in both to Mr. Johnson and Mr. Sosby the night that I found out about it, and they were very courteous to me, and they were very responsive. And the next day I called into Commissioner Helton. Before I could even get the whole story told, he told me he was going to support animal control, the people at Animal Control, before he even knew all the full details. So I have a real problem with that, because when we have people over there that are not doing Animal Control 101 and taking care of our animals in this county by policy, it's not a mistake. If there's a policy and you hand a dog over with no ID, no current phone number, and all they have, or what I have in my hand, are rabies tags, and they come in waving rabies tags and say, that's my dog, that doesn't mean jack squat. Unless you call those rabies tags in and see if they match those dogs. That's logical. That don't mean anything, but that's what the policy is right now, because I've got a copy of it. They made no copy of the ID, nothing. We can't trace those dogs. If they ever find them, it'll only be by the grace of God, because there's no way to trace those dogs. The number's disconnected. It was a bogus address. We don't know who has them. Now, if y'all think that's fine, I don't think some of y'all at that front table think that's so fine, but I think Mr. Helton's going to support it come heck or high water, because that's pretty much what he told me. So I'm going to talk really fast. Check out the pictures, the difference between Fannin and Gilmer animal shelters, and you see why I'm frustrated. Look at the nastiness of Fannin County Animal Shelter. I'm just saying it. If you don't believe me, go over there and walk through it yourself, and you'll see it for yourself. They operate on the same budget. Gilmer County takes in about 1,500 animals a year. Fannin County will do good to take in 300 this year. Same budget, $200,000. $235 for Fannin this year, $214 for Gilmer. Gilmer has 5 full-time employees. Never is there a time during business hours that there's not a person there. It's run totally different. They have the support of their commissioner, who is quite familiar with the way it runs. I have these pictures, information, pictures of the Gilmer County paid-for library in the packet. I'll be glad to share those with you. I asked to be on the agenda. I was told absolutely not by the commission chairman. I could not be put on the agenda. And I'm researching to see if anybody's ever been on the agenda that's not a county employee. Because if so, that's a definite First Amendment violation in my humble opinion. I'm talking fast. I machine gun it to you because we don't have enough time to get our information out. Fannin County Animal Shelter is a sad, sad place and an embarrassment to our county.
Thank you, Miss Eaton.
Y'all want to
Okay, we'll have one more comment about animal control, and then if we don't have something else, we're going to move on to other business. Who else wants to speak? Ms. Osteen, you stood up.
Not about animal control.
Okay, all right.
Marcella Osteen, Hepworth. Not about animal control per se, but it is about the cavalier treatment of a citizen like Jan Eaton. I have no dog in this fight, no pun intended. You can't consider me a dog person or a cat person. I have no pets, but I do care very much how elected officials treat citizens, any citizen, much less somebody like her. She spends her own time, and I've heard her badmouth before, saying she's selling dogs, which I hardly think that is even conceivable. She has plenty of money without bragging all over the country peddling dogs. So, and the fact that she was denied a spot on the agenda, when I had seen people come up here and get on the agenda, for instance, Mrs. Weaver, Judge Weaver, she was here sitting right there. She wasn't on the agenda. She got up here and talked 30 minutes. So I have a big problem with Jan Eaton not being able to be on the agenda and talk about something that she knows more about than probably any citizen in this whole county. So with that being said, I would like to yield the rest of my minutes, 55 minutes to her to finish up what she's got to say.
No, ma'am, that
Well,
was
I
going to be someone else.
I didn't
Thank
think you would
ma'am.
say so.
Is there anyone else? Okay, Mr. Bond, this will be the last comment we have about animal control.
What does it matter if it's about animal control or not? Are we in 30 minutes?
Does it say it's limited to the number of
My name's James Bond. I live in Fannin County, have lived in Fannin County since 1998. I've been a registered voter in Fannin County since 1998.
Put the mic up by your mouth, please. The mic, you can't hear you. The microphone, I can't hear you.
Oh my goodness, and those people say I talk too loud. The situation with the 3 minutes, I know that's been in effect for a long time. I had to come up here and spoke at some time. I noticed the 30 minutes on there, and I think it's arbitrarily wrong to say it can be a total of 30 minutes, but if it's not different topics, then you're going to say, okay, we're not going to go 30 minutes, we're just going to call it on. I think that's the wrong pursuit of that. I remember when Bernie Hotchkiss was brought up on supposedly embezzlement of this funds, and there was a big, large turnout that night. And Commissioner Johnson looked over at Mr. Simons and said, there's a lot of people here tonight. I think we should let them talk as long as they want to. They've showed up. Let's let them talk. You can't arbitrarily say, this is an issue we want to discuss and we're interested in, and we're going to give you as much time as you want. But then by prior actions, animal control has not been a big agenda on any board of commissioners since I've been here in '98. You can't arbitrarily just say, okay, we're not interested in this, we're not going to give them the same courtesy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Okay, ma'am, are you on the same subject, or are we going to move on to something else? Are you on animal control?
It's about animal control.
Okay, this will be the last commentary about animal control. Then we're going to move on to other business, okay? Thank you.
My name is Karen Wilson, and I've been doing rescue in this town, in the area, for 16 years. I do transports up to New Jersey. We take about 30 dogs and cats every month. I've worked with Jan Eaton in the past, and all the rescues I've worked with, and I still continue to do that. My problem is, I always have problems with animal control, so I stopped pulling from actually Fannin because I can't really deal with the people there. I can't deal with the condition of the building. It's really upsetting. So I stopped really pulling from there. What I really came tonight was because of these German Shepherds. I am a German Shepherd lover. I have always had two German Shepherds at least. And that these dogs were just given away, it was very upsetting to me because they should have proof of ownership. They should have that. If you have a dog, like I'm sure any of you do, when you have pictures and medical papers and everything, don't you think that would be the very least that should be shown? I did go down to Fannin because there was a paper, in the paper there was about a 3-legged dog, and somebody had called to see if I could help it. So I went down there, and the dog had been given away, as far as I was concerned. And when I asked John what happened to the dog, he said the owner came and got it. And I said, well, how do you know it was the owner? And he said, because you told me so. Well, I don't think that's, we love them, and they deserve more than that. Without like Jan and the rescues taking these dogs out, they'd be having puppies. As it is, I work for Sears, puppies I pick up, and I have people coming there all the time to me telling me how bad it is that stray dogs are running this area. And there's still stray dogs, even with all the people and the rescues working, we still have all these stray dogs. And I think that's pretty sad. One other thing, when I went down to, after this 3-legged dog, I went there and I saw all these different dogs. Some of them were there a long time. And then of course I felt sorry, so I wound up taking 9 dogs out. But what happened with one of these incidents, there was a lot, that I kept going back for another one and another one. And this one dog was a lab and was huddled back in the corner. And I asked Mr. Patterson, I said, would you get that dog out for me, please? And he says, I'm not going near it, it's aggressive, it'll bite. So I wound up taking that dog out myself. It was scared, that's all it was. And that dog, which would have sat there for months, is now living with an attorney and sleeping in her bed at night. So, I mean, these dogs, they deserve so much more, and I hope that, you know, that you'll do something to help the condition, do something to make things better. And just one last thing, we do not sell dogs. We do this all with our own money and donations, and we work hard at it, and we work at it day after day. And I just think that's kind of sad that for anybody to say that that's what we do, because we don't.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Is there any other subject, public commentary, other than animal control? If not, we're closing public commentary. We're going to move on with new business. Robert Graham.
Good evening.
Good evening, Robert.
We have put a clause in our bid specifications for the ambulance we purchased earlier this year that, and Daryl's passing out these sheets and stuff to you here to look at, that when the contract is awarded, the purchaser reserved the right to increase the number of vehicles or equipment specified under the contract. And we have contacted the manufacturer, and they are willing to honor that bid still at this point with a 2018 chassis, as opposed to, you know, the one we ordered was a 2017 chassis. They've agreed to honor the same exact specifications at the same exact contract price that we paid earlier this year. And I would like to propose that we place another ambulance on order under this bid specification that would not be delivered until probably late January, early February, and would actually be paid for under next year's budget. While we have the opportunity to save this, I feel like we're saving probably somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000 over the cost of a new year model chassis.
This is a second ambulance?
This would be a second ambulance. It would be an exact duplicate of the one we ordered previously, with the exception of being a 2018 chassis.
So what you're doing is basically, this is the 2008, I mean, we've been trying to buy a new ambulance every year, correct?
That's correct.
And
yes.
You're talking about buying the 2018 ambulance, instead of it being delivered mid-year or late year, you're talking about scheduling it so that it could be available early next year, and we would not actually be billed until physical calendar 2018?
That's correct. We
Okay.
don't pay for the ambulance until it is actually delivered, so it would be billed in 2018. This gives us an opportunity to purchase this truck at the same price as the 2017 and avoid having to go through the whole bid process, since it's the same manufacturer and the same exact contract price.
And that price is $124,280.
Yes.
Is that a complete box and all?
complete box, chassis, and everything, all brand new.
Set up, ready to go.
Yes.
What do you think, Commissioner Johnson?
I mean, I think it'd be a great idea. We're gonna take, ownership of it 6 months earlier than we would the other route we go every year, so.
That's correct.
So we don't have to pay for it till we actually take possession.
That's correct, yes. They would invoice in 2018.
I think it's a great idea.
Any questions, Commissioner Sosby?
No, it's, I'm fine with it.
I think it's a great, I'm sorry, sir.
We're just taking possession, as Mr. Johnson said a little earlier in the ballgame talk.
Okay, all right.
With the increased call volume we've had, we're seeing mileage rack up on the ambulances quite a bit faster than used to. That'll help kind of keep us caught up with stuff to get it a little earlier in the year.
Is all our ambulances running good now?
Yes,
Everything good?
running good.
Holiday coming up and everything?
So we're getting a 2018 model for the same price as a 2017.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, I think I'll make a motion that we approve this purchase and get that rolling. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? All right.
Thank y'all.
Move ahead.
It's not yellow like the fire truck.
Well, we thought we might get.
It looks like a
Really
road.
white and red.
Okay. Item number 4, we have a proclamation for Hospice and Home Health Month, and we have some fine folks here that represent that. And it's basically National Hospice Month nationally, is that correct? And it encourages citizens to increase the awareness and the importance and availability of hospice service, and to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. And I will gladly sign that, and if you folks want to have a picture and get a little more publicity, we'll be glad to do that here in just a moment.
Thank you.
It's for hospice and home health, correct?
That is correct. Did you have any comments you wanted to make? You're certainly welcome to come up and tell us about this.
Well, I wasn't prepared to be
Okay.
honest. I'm sorry.
All right, that's quite all right. Let's do that.
You're not even going to give a speech?
Come on, Amy. I know you can talk. Say something.
She looks at me.
It's a big tall guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 5, variance request from Barry D. and Anna M. Delphus. Is anyone here that represents these folks on the variance request? Anyone? Okay. All right. Have you gentlemen had a chance to look this over, and what are your thoughts on this one, Commissioner Sosby?
I went out and looked at it, I really couldn't see any problems with it.
Okay.
But close from what we,
Yeah, I think, I know I went out and looked at this one, and it's, even though it's a private road, it kind of concerns me that it's 8 feet from the edge of the road there.
yeah, it's close, it's like a private road.
What do you think, Commissioner
10
Johnson?
feet's my main rule. Sure, they could work 8, or two more feet out somewhere. 8 feet's way too close.
We went out and measured that and looked at how close it was, and I was concerned about that as well. Do you feel like that 8 feet is,
8 feet's awful close, and so they didn't have a problem with it, but the footage on it being, I didn't have a problem with it being on a private road, is what I meant to say.
Right. Okay.
That is a little bit close.
How do you feel about requesting 10 feet
Yeah.
from the road?
I think
Okay.
we need to table this for question.
Okay, what we'll do then, I'll vote that I'll ask for a motion that we reject this variance on the condition that they can reapply and instead of 8 feet from the edge of Dial Escape Road, go 10 feet. Do I hear a motion that we reject it on those conditions and consider it in the future?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Sosby, a second. Okay, all in favor? All right. Okay, Karen, would you see that this gets to Miss Woody and they can instruct the folks to extend that length out? And we'll reconsider it at that time. Okay. Item number 6, Rainbow Road right-of-way. And what we have here is a section of highway up in close to the Dial area. And sometime back, the folks were under the impression that the county was going to pave the road, widen it, and this was last year, I believe, gentlemen, when this came up, and I believe I'm correct in saying that it was kind of an issue because you had to move telephone poles. There would be a lot of expense in doing this, and they had the property owners up through that area had given us right-of-ways, and they're saying since we had decided not to pave and widen that road, they were asking for us to give back their right-of-ways. And I think Ms. Doss, you would have to have a document basically from they've got here what they have a request asking that it back, to get the right-of-ways back. And we'd have to basically vote to do that here, and then you'd have some document where we relinquish those right-of-ways back to the
If
property.
the board so approves, then we'll prepare a quick claim deed for signature by the chairman and a test by the clerk, and then it would be delivered to them for recording.
What do you think, Commissioner Sosby? You got any issue with that? Giving that
No, I
back?
don't have any issues with it. If they're, if we're not going to pave it, I can say it, I'm blind for it.
Okay. How do you feel, Commissioner Johnson?
I say we get it back in the tax register.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I will make the motion that we return the right-of-ways that the county has acquired along Rainbow Road. And do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, okay. I have a second. All in favor? Okay.
Is there any idea what length of time we've had these foreman stops?
no earthly idea, but I can find out and I'll send you an email on that.
This come up under the previous administration, and I think we done some work there. We got there trying to move the light poles. So, yeah.
All right. Item number 7, Mr. Larry Thomas, Fire Department.
Did give y'all a copy of this. I didn't,
School bus?
What I'd like to do is request that we purchase this truck this year. This is a used truck that would actually be taking the place of engine 13, which we're also needing a tanker up there also, and what we'll end up doing is moving that truck over to the tanker slot and then putting this in as a frontline pumper truck. But this truck here we found in Virginia. The truck's in sound order. We sent 2 guys up there over the past couple of days, and they reported back to me that it's corrosion free. Any leaks or anything like that it was free of any leaks, oil leaks or anything like that. It drove out really strong. And what I'd like to do is purchase that out of the budget this year, if at all possible. The asking price was $49.5, and then after speaking with him, the price, and considering not having it repainted to a red color, but considering it, keeping it the same color, which I feel like that would be better. I'm afraid we'll have problems with the paint if we do, but we got the price down to $45,000.
But it's ugly as sin.
So's the one you've got is, it's ugly.
That'll make 2 that color in the sun. Actually, we have a lot of fun with those trucks, and when I say fun, when it comes to public education with the kids. Fire truck, yeah, normally a fire truck's supposed to be red, and this one here is considered a safety green, but it looks yellow to some people. But as far as the color of it, it's not going to hurt the performance of the truck. So,
Your truck like set up like that, what would a new truck cost?
that same type truck, probably $260,000, just a new truck.
Everything's workable, everything's ready to go.
Everything's good. Actually, it's coming with some extra equipment that they informed me of just today, and I'm looking forward to see what that extra equipment is. But to actually put a truck like that on the road, and if we do buy the truck, you're looking at close to $270,000.
And the condition of the truck you've got now that you intend to replace this with?
The one that we're replacing is actually the tanker at Station 13, which is 1970-something model, retired Air Force truck. It's got a 500-gallon tank on it. But what we'll do is put this newer truck in the engine's place and move that engine over and let it be the tanker.
Okay. What else with the old tanker that you have? Do you have any mechanical issues with it, or is it, do you have problems with it getting out to fire?
Actually, yeah, well, and it being a manual transmission, we don't have a lot of drivers that will actually take it out.
Okay. All right. What do you think, Commissioner Sosby?
Sounds like a good buy if the truck's in good shape as it looks. Part of what Larry just said that cost you. This board's about the safety factor for citizens of Fannin County.
You had almost $62,000 left in your capital outlay for that, and this is $45,000, so you'll still have almost $17,000 left in that, so you have it in the budget this year. What do you think, Commissioner Johnson?
Well, I'm in favor of getting it. I just, you don't have anything you can auction off to pay for paint. I'd like to keep some kind of uniformity is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion. But if you like green, I love it, so.
What are you talking about, a paint job for one of these, Larry?
Well, and I'm thinking anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000.
Well, you said that he was gonna paint it for $49,500.
$49,500 if he
So-
didn't run into no major problems as far as.
So that's
painting.
$4,500.
When it comes to painting the fender wells and all like that, that's where I feel like they would throw in an extra amount for that.
Right. Well, I mean,
Well,
if
you
you
would
can
want-
live with the green, I can. I mean, I would like to keep some sort of uniformity and not have mixed match
Right.
colors roaming around, but that's just my opinion, so.
You don't have an idea of what extras are throwing in?
No, but he did, he mentioned to me this afternoon when I talked to him again that he was going to put some hoses and ladders and stuff like that. Now, we're looking probably $1,000 worth of ladders that'll be, put in various trucks.
And you'll promise to keep it inside whenever Earl's coming by so he doesn't have to see it?
Yes, sir.
Well, that ugly thing's gonna cause a wreck, what it's gonna do. They're gonna see it like,
Actually, it going to station 13, that's not hardly the shamrock color, but it's close to
yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I just like uniformity. I'm joking about most of what I'm saying, but
Right.
I just like keeping some sort of uniformity, but I mean, it's a good deal on the truck, so.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion that we allow Mr. Thomas to purchase this fire truck?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor? It's approved.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And can I say something from the heart?
Go.
I want, yes, I do, a little one. Well, a lot of people say it's big, but I do appreciate y'all gentlemen really working with the fire department closely. We've really actually made a lot of progress this year in the fire department, the fire services, and safety is the #1 factor. We've got not only looking out after everybody's safety in the county, we got to look out for our own guys' safety that's out there doing the job, and y'all are making it happen. Thank you.
Okay. Don't run away right yet. Item number 8, firefighter cancer insurance. This is something that's real important to you. And this is based on the Georgia State House bill that was passed recently to provide certain cancer benefits to firefighters effective January 1st, 2018. And this is a pretty big deal. You've lost some firefighters, volunteers throughout the organization to cancer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
It's available to, second, okay.
And on behalf of the department, they really appreciate this too.
Thank you, Larry. Item 9, Eddie O'Neill, come on down.
I'd like to submit quotes. It's time to resurface the gym court flooring. We're down to almost a hardwood, especially under the court areas. So I've found 2 quotes from 2 companies that can do it in any kind of reasonable time frame. First quote is from Stevens Gymnasium. That's the folks that actually install the hardwood in the court. It was $10,900. And the second quote is $87.35 from Prater's Flooring, and those guys were the last company to refinish the floors in 2015. So, and they done a fine job.
What was that name?
Prater's.
What was the number?
$87.35, $8,735. And the Stevens was $10,900.
And the low bid's the same folks you used the last time?
Yeah, they actually polished the floors and screened them in 2015, yeah.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Chattanooga area.
Okay.
They're gonna use the same finish,
Yeah, the same water-based poly, not the
so it won't be that noxious fumes in there
No,
in 2 weeks.
we'll use the water-based again.
Will you have to shut down the rec center for
We
anything?
we'll have to shut down. I'll have these guys come in on the 13th and we'll shut it. We could use the walking track, but the courts will be shut down until the following Monday. So it'll take those guys 2 days to do it all, and then they want at least another 48 hours of dry time, cure time before we turn people loose on the courts.
Okay. Any questions? Commissioner Sosby?
No, it's good with the damage last time.
Okay.
So good.
Anything else, Commissioner Johnson, on this? Okay. Do I hear a motion, we approve the 8735 for Eddie to resurface the floors at the rec center?
Take the motion.
Okay. I'll second. All in favor? Okay, Eddie.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Item number 10, Project Chimp. We have a requested permit to bring additional 10 chimpanzees in. And you, on your permit it says animals bearing tattoo numbers. You tattoo chimpanzees?
Well, they did.
They do? What do they put on? Banana? Like a banana tattoo?
Just numbers.
Okay. All right, the first one, X40533, and that's kind of, doesn't that bother them to have those kind of impersonal numbers on there? Did I just violate HIPAA by putting the name? Did they have a HIPAA for chimpanzees? Just giving you a hard time. You folks have certainly done everything you said you would do, even if you do have Max working for you. And we appreciate it. And when would you be expecting to bring the additional?
December 12th.
December 12th, okay, all right. Okay, you gentlemen have any questions about this? Commissioner Sosby?
How many more's coming in?
Well, 10 more on this one.
10 more, and then how many more down the road, we know?
Yes or no questions will do for that. There's still 192 at the lab. So depending on fundraising and our construction, we hope to move all 192.
This one facility?
Correct.
192.
Correct. But no more than 10 at a time.
Any questions, commissioners, on this?
That's all I have.
I will ask for a motion that we approve this permit for Ms. Crumpiker and Project Chimp. Make a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Okay. You're good. Okay, item 11, Mr. Ratcliffe, Public Works.
I'd like to bring to you guys' attention that the Water Authority has got a track hoe that they're willing to sell, and I'd like to be able to purchase that from the Water Authority. The price on the machine is $42,000. The initial price when they first purchased it was like $55,240, and they're liquidating that thing, so I'd like to be able to purchase it. I promise you, I can use that thing just about every day.
Thank you, can't hear you.
I said I'd like to purchase a piece of equipment from the Water Authority. The Water Authority is selling track hoe, and the asking price for it is $42,000, and I'd ask to purchase it.
I feel like we've got enough equipment out there right now, more we've got people to run it. My feeling on it. We just purchased a new one, what, 6 months ago?
Yes, sir.
What's the advantages you have of this one? It's a little smaller than the one you purchased, isn't it?
That's correct. It is a little smaller, but with the leaves falling and all the washouts we have right now, we can keep 2 or 3 of them busy with what we got right now. I mean, I have been keeping most of them busy, cleaning out ditches and the leaves.
Okay. What's your thoughts, Commissioner Johnson?
I wish we'd known about it before we bought the other.
Yeah, really.
And my view is, I for one don't know why the Water Authority is selling it to begin with. Secondly, I don't think we need it, so. And I got to learn about it before anybody with the Water Authority even talked to me about it, so. I guess I can have better luck selling it somewhere else.
Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, Zach. Eddie, the next item we have is the school bus lease, and that's for the rec department. Do you want to come up and tell us a little bit about what's going on with that?
It's for the after-school program. What we will do is during the Thanksgiving/fall break for the school system, we will open up the after-school program and run it through the week. We'll also do that through parts of their Christmas break also. And we'd like to use the school bus very similar to what we do with summer day camp. We've scheduled a few close field trips for the students that are attending after school. So we would just lease the bus, and we would hire one of their certified drivers, Mr. Thomas Mills, I think, will drive the bus for us. So it's just basically a lease for us, and we'll just upkeep the bus and fuel it while it's in our possession.
Mm-hmm. And this lease would end, what's the time frame here?
Just basically,
It would be the.
2/18.
It is 2/18, yes, yes, 2/18.
To January 5th to 2/18, correct?
That's correct.
Yes, my apologies.
Okay.
What's the cost? Is there any cost?
Nothing, we just pay the driver an hourly rate. I think we pay him $11 an hour, and then we just refuel the bus before we take it back to being at the bus garage.
So they provide the driver and the bus, we're just paying?
We pay the driver, and we refuel the bus, basically, is what it amounts to.
Very generous with the school board.
Yes. And they'll vote, they'll approve it hopefully Friday. Yes.
They're having a special call meeting to approve this lease, is that correct?
They're having a special call meeting, and they've just added this to the
Yeah, I think they
agenda so
did.
that it can be done before the holiday.
Okay.
Right.
You gonna be at that meeting? Anyway, I'm just, tell them we said thank you. So
Will do.
All right. You have any comments, Commissioner Soto?
No, John, that's good.
Okay. Last item on the list, chairman's spending limit. Currently, the chairman's spending limit is at $4,500. And this is too low. I'm just going to come out and say it. I understand the issues that you had previously with having to control spending or spending that wasn't approved. I've given you, gentlemen, had it put in your mailbox there, spending limits on commissions, surrounding counties, and even within our own county. Fannin County has a $27 million a year budget. And if you go back and look years ago, I guess it's back 95, Fannin's budget was only $5 million. I wish we still had that. But I'm not sure what, do you recall, Ms. Dawes, what the spending limit was back then, 95? Okay, all right. So it's certainly grown 5 times larger in that time, which I don't like that, having to grow a budget that much. But I feel like that what's happening to us here, there's been about 400 checks, I believe, that we've had to have second signatures on. And the real thing that has become an issue is this became on our audit. And I can read this, bore you with a commentary on that, but it was listed as a material weakness by our audit from last year. It's a deficiency or combination of deficiencies in internal control such that there is a reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the entity's financial statements will not be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. And on our county audit that is online, that we put on the website, it was stated that while performing audit procedures on disbursements, we noted that the approved purchase order policies and procedures are not being followed. Purchase orders are being obtained subsequent to the purchase. And the recommendation was that purchase, in accordance with our ordinances, greater than $4,500 should have approval prior to the disbursement. In other words, we're signing the checks after the fact. The approval of the expenditure should have come first. So, Jim, you know where I feel on this. Can I ask for your comments, Commissioner Sotheby? How do you?
Let Mr. Brown get started.
Okay.
I don't want to start. I mean, I just go ahead and tell you no.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely not. And all these counties we're comparing them to as well, the county attorneys work for the boards of commissioners, so that's how they kind of, that offset and that balance of power. If I have a problem or a question with an expenditure, if I'm in Pickens or Gilmer County, I can go to the county attorney because in Pickens or Gilmer, they appoint a new attorney every year at the beginning of the year, and I can get an answer that's not biased. In Fannin County, our county attorney still works for the chairman, in which no matter what situation comes up, the most problems I've had since I've been here for 5 years is spending. And that's been almost every one of my issues was spending. I've never got a straight, legitimate answer from our county attorney, but except I'll find out and let you know later, and I never find out. So that's my problem with any higher spending limit. At least right now, it can't go over $4,500. And I don't see where it's hurting. I even asked Robin, I spoke with her for about 20 minutes on the phone because of an email that you'd sent out trying to help y'all's cause. Anything to further your cause. And I didn't know that y'all were on this team now, but you know, since we're drawing those lines in the sand, I'm fine with that, but absolutely not will I be in favor of any higher spending limit. There's just no way.
Well, I fail to understand how the county attorney is part of the spending limit.
Well, because when a chairman, such as the one we had prior, was overspending his limit, and I couldn't get a reason why he was able to from our county attorney, that has everything to do.
have you had that problem with me this year?
No, but a lot of people didn't have that problem on our previous chairman either. But I've been taken off the agenda, every question you want directed towards you, so I kind of see a pattern going in the wrong way, and I'm ready to stop that pattern.
I'm lost.
Well, I'm lost too. It's just like the lady that spoke 3 weeks ago, you asked her to come see you in your office. And I'm sitting here like, why can't she talk right now? Because I had no earthly idea what she was talking about. I'm not privileged to the information that you are every day. And you know, everything's starting to start to tweak just a little bit. And at this point, you know, I didn't ever think we were having a problem. But since this is such a huge problem, it's a problem for you and our CFO, you know, I don't know what to say other than every time I've been asked to come sign a check, I sign a check. There's, you know, and there's not very many $4,500 checks. Well, you know, we're busy telling people that want checks, they can't see copies of the checks. I don't see any copies of the checks that's under $4,500. You see, and I keep getting told I'll get to see those as well, but right at this point, I don't think as a board of commissioners we've ever clarified that in this past year. I mean, have I ever seen one under $4,500?
You can, you just have to come in.
Right. Right. So if we put this spending limit, what would you think is a reasonable spending limit?
$25,000.
Absolutely not. You know, and that's another problem. We go around talking to these other commissioners. The email I got, Pickens was $25,000, Gilmer was $50,000. You know, we can go around, we can compare all these things with these people, but those people can't ever vote with you. You know, and if they vote and feel like their chairman can spend $25,000 without them seeing it, that's fine with me. But that's Pickens County, maybe. You know, Pickens County's there, and they've got places open, but it was $4,500 when you came here. I don't know why there's a problem with it now. I mean, we haven't had any issues. But if I'm wrong at any time, Robin, I would like you to correct me. Have there been any issues with signing checks?
We've only had a couple of issues that come up, and it was just the fact that a check needed to be signed, and we had to come to one of you two, you know, at the last minute. But I have only know of a couple.
Well, like the heat and air check, that if the spending limit was $25,000, that $15,000 check would have went through and nobody would have noticed it. Okay? I asked for an explanation. I still don't have it.
I still don't either.
Well, see, so that's my problem. That's why it's $4,500. Because at least I know a mistake can only happen $4,500 at a time rather than $25,000 at a time. Because I still didn't ever get an explanation why we all as a board approved $5,200 and it went to $15,600. Still don't have an explanation. So, I mean, that's some of my concerns with the spending limit. Because the spending limit, money always causes the problem, every time. I don't care if it's here, at home, or at work. Money causes the problem. So, I know we're way under what other counties are, but that's why we're Fannin County. That's all I know to say about it, really.
Mr. Sullivan?
Well, my view of it was, when you campaigned, you knew what it was. You sat back on the back bench back there, and it was one of our biggest adversaries when we were going down that lawsuit with Mr. Simons. And I'm up here every Wednesday. The only altercation we've had that I know of was a light bill that I had to sign about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And as a matter of fact, I signed one last Wednesday, which shouldn't have been a problem. I could come up here. There's a 10-day grace period when you get your light bill on it. My house, this place, or wherever. But anyway, I'm not raising it at any level right now. We were sued over it. We've come through it in a manner. We've been with either county. We've been, you know, like Mr. Johnson said, this is Fannin County. We're not in debt. Millage rate's lower than any other county. These other counties shouldn't even come in the same scenario with this right here. And Not putting you in the same category as Mr. Simons, because he's one of his own, I grant you. But we just went down this road, and I don't intend to walk it again, not this year.
Well,
I'm strictly not for it right now.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Well, the one thing that is still an issue is this audit, because there's really been nothing that's changed in that process, and it will have to be straightened out this year. We don't have a lot of time left, so in order to get this done, I don't want to have that non-conformance on the county and on the Board of Commissioners for our audit next year. So what I'll have to do is look at some way to fix this, and that's what I will do.
Are we also fixing the departments where there's not enough people in line to make sure people are double checking these? Because that was an issue in the audit too. Are we hiring those people since we won't fix the spending limit?
We fixed it in the commissioner's office, of course, and everything. It's only the
What
other
about
smaller
EMS?
we kind of did distribute a little bit of that and everything, so I'm hoping not to have that one next year, unless they found something that I haven't thought of yet. The only ones that we will have, though, is, you know, like the other smaller offices, probate, magistrate, they still have the segregation of duties.
So we will have corrected all of those.
Other than the ones that we don't control. As far as I know, that we've done a few things here and there to straighten that out. I think Eddie's supposed to oversee over there and, you know, segregate that part of it. They've run over more of the deposits on a more frequent basis. I think that was another one that was in our office also, and I corrected those. I've been slowly trying to correct some of the ones the easier ones, of course. Part of the one on the purchase orders, I put in, you know, and installed that one. I can't do anything about the ones over 4,500, but the ones that are smaller than that, I have told Julie now that it's mandated that a department head has to come in and sign a purchase order or an invoice before it is paid. Anything over 4,500, of course, that would, you know, that falls under you all, but the board itself. But anything under that, then, you know, she has to make sure that they sign it before she pays it. That only takes her part of that problem, but it does take part of it. I'm trying to think of some of the others. I've been slowly trying to fix everything that I can, so we won't have other comments. You know, we'll probably
Because the thing I see about it, more eyes the better, and a team effort is a lot better than I mean, that's my opinion. And I know it doesn't sit well. I mean, I can tell, I can feel the air, but I really don't care. I really don't care, because I thought everything was going pretty good in our county. I thought things were getting, you know.
They are.
Yeah, for you, yeah. But you know, here we are, we're tweaking things up, and it's been kind of building and little by little by little by little. But yeah, I mean, I'm not happy about the way on the agendas that everything's directed toward the chairman. Talk to the chairman. If you have any questions, comments, call the chairman. Well, they do call me, and I don't like hearing that we got dogs given away by Miss Eaton. I would need to hear it from Mr. Drewin, but I didn't get to hear that. I got a call from Miss Eaton on my way home from Gainesville late the other night. I should hear it from our department head. When any department heads, you know, agree that if there's a problem, you probably need to let 3 commissioners know. But that's not the way it's being ran right now. It's let 1 know. And I'm fine with that. But with that, there also does come consequences, because I shouldn't hear of a problem from a citizen. I should hear it from department head first. And then I know what I kind of get briefed on what's going on. That's why this all changed anyway when the department heads came under the Board of Commissioners. Just because we have a new chairman doesn't mean that we're going to change the way we do everything. And I was fine with the way everything was going tonight, but this is like a bad nightmare in my opinion when I see chairman's spending limit, when we all knew what it was when we took office. But since we're on the verge of changing things, and we want to change things, I mean, I'm going to propose something since we're in the middle of changing things, just like I spoke about our county attorney. I never get any communication from our county attorney, no matter what issue it is. And I don't blame her because she does not work. But as you feel the spending limit is a problem, I feel the county attorney not working for the board of commissioners like they do in all these counties that you're comparing us to, I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. Wasn't really wanting to address the problem because I thought everything was going pretty good, but since I see the direction we're going, I think it's about due time for a change in who the county attorney works for. That way she can talk to me openly and freely without worrying about what her boss thinks.
She's able to do that now, Mr. Johnson. I can tell you I have not restricted her. I've encouraged her to communicate with both commissioners. And I really feel like that's not accurate. I mean, you may think it is, but I don't see that because I encourage her to do that.
So would you be surprised if you can ask her last time she spoke to me on any county issue? Because you can ask her right now. But she won't remember that either.
Okay.
And like the issue we just faced, I think 10 minutes would have been great to talk to my county attorney to see where the county stands. But see, I can't do that, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's kind of like this hand not knowing what this hand's doing. And so I think it's a huge issue in light of what happened last week, with whatever happened with the German Shepherds, with whatever happened with them, okay? I still have not received a text from Mr. Drewinger. But, you know, I don't know what our policies are. I got another copy of policies tonight. Did we vote change these policies, Karen? Or did they just get updated? Or did the county attorney come up with these policies?
That was given to me by John.
So did
Who
the county...
updated these policies, John?
Excuse me?
Who updated these policies?
I did, sir.
Has our attorney looked at them yet?
No, sir. No attorney's looked at it in 11 years we've been there. That's interoffice.
That's a problem. That's an 11-year-old problem.
Amen.
So, and I don't need a crowd cheering me on, please. I don't mean to be harsh, but I mean, I'm just saying right now that's a problem. You've implemented new policies, and our county attorney hasn't even looked at them. Like in my office on Tom Boyd Road, that wouldn't happen. We don't start new policies without the most important person, the attorney, seeing. But see, if you talk to me, I'll tell you that first. If you talk to me, I promise you I'd tell you that before I ever hand you a copy of these out. But right now, we're not talking. When we were all communicating good with all the department heads, things were going pretty good. Would y'all all agree? Any department head that's here, everything was going pretty good. We're in the middle of budget time right now. We're trying to find ways to save money. We're trying to find ways, but we're still not communicating. And I know I'm probably overstepping my bounds right now by talking so much, because I haven't talked this much in almost 9 months.
Right.
But spending limit sent me over the edge, okay? Because it's a bad nightmare to me. I don't want to relive a year and a half, 2 years ago. So we're in budget right now. We just published the budget. We're worried about cutting other people's budget, but we're worried about raising our chairman's spending limit. I don't think so. We're cutting people here, but over here, this is going to go up. And Mr. Chairman, you and I have agreed on many things in this up till now, but I thought everything was good. But seeing the route we're going on, I understand why you feel the way you do, and I hope you understand why I feel I do about county attorney. Because she can honestly sit there and tell you that she has spoken with me on 0 items pertaining to this county.
I haven't talked to you, I've emailed you some, but I hadn't talked to you.
Right. But I would say you spoke with the chairman. Okay. And this has nothing to do with you, Ms. Dawes. Absolutely, it's to do with our structure. And since we're going after things we think need to change, I mean, I think we need to change the county attorney from working for the chairman to the entire board. That's my opinion. I don't know how you feel, Mr. Sotheby. I know this was thrown around 2.5 years ago, but
I felt like it needs to been done 2.5 years ago when we took that baby stuff that you throw in the pot there.
Well, I mean, you can criticize the baby step all that you want. I felt like we needed to go in little steps, okay? So you can criticize it all you want. We didn't know where it was going to go at that time. But this very reason right here, like talking about the spending limit, the attorney can speak with me about it. We can't talk to each other about it. But, you know, it's one of the things. I don't expect you to understand, Mr. Hale, so you can make all the faces you want. I'm done, but the spending limit's not going up. And I make a motion that we start, however we do it. I'm sure she's not going to be involved in it, but bringing the county attorney under the entire board of commissioners, because I like the way Pickens and Gilmer does it, just like you like the way Pickens and Gilmer has a $25,000 to $50,000 spending limit. I like that their county attorney works for the board. And I want to get that process started immediately.
I'm going to resist that. We're not, because when I took this office, you talked about accepting things as they came in. I accepted this office when I came in as the most constitutionally weak chairman this county's ever had. The spending limit and the change in where the department heads report directly to the chairman as it used to. It's not now. So I'm not in favor of anything that weakens this office any further.
I've always said Ms. Dawes should work for the full board. I mean, I've said that from the get-go. Nothing to do with you, nothing to do with Ms. Dawes. It's just the structure of it should be done that way, so I second that motion.
I did not ask for a motion on this.
No, you didn't, but I will second it.
Well, I'm going to make a motion again that we start proceedings to move the county attorney under the discretion of the full board of commissioners. And it can be done under home rule just as the department heads were done before.
Well, we're not going to do it by motion here. If you're going to note and invoke home rule, I think that's a different process.
See, I could ask our county attorney right now if she's working with me. See, this is why that I'm going to push for this to happen, because you're the quarterback, you're the running back. So I'm going to have to, I guess, have my own pocket paid for legal advice. I'll make a motion again that the county attorney be brought under the full board, the full say-so of the board of commissioners.
Well, I'm simply not going to move forward with that. I'm just not going to do it.
I make a motion again to the county attorney be brought under the full authority of the board of commissioners of Fannin County.
Lee calls for a second, but no use making one.
We can sit here all night.
I say till
I'm
Lee
not
calls.
going to go along with it.
Motion for second.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I can sit here and keep making motions. Either way, one year later, we're no better off than we were 2 years ago. So. If you'll recall, the last chairman didn't agree with it either. So.
The only motion I'm going to accept is that we adjourn the meeting. Other than that, I'm not accepting any motions for the rest of the meeting. And I'll make the motion that we adjourn the meeting. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Sosby, do I hear a second that we adjourn the meeting?
I hope the chairman recognizes exactly what a weird position as a commissioner I'm in, because at this point, I could speak with our legal counsel. I hope you understand this right here is the reason why eventually the county attorney will hopefully be under the full board of commissioners, whether you agree with it or not, because of this very reason right here.
Well, Mr. Johnson, this chairman's spending limit was put on the agenda, which you were able to see in advance. You knew this would be discussed. If you don't like it, you expressed your opinion. But to put this situation about changing the county attorney here on the spot like this is unacceptable. And we can sit here all night.
So you've changed the agenda 3 times this week, Mr. Chairman. She has changed the agenda 3 times this week, and every time it's a new item. You changed the agenda up to the day of, so I don't need to hear that I've had this.
I think the only thing we changed was adding the school bus lease. Was that correct, Karen?
No, she changed it twice, Mr. Chairman.
So it wasn't 3 times. What was the second thing we changed?
The third one was the final agenda.
Okay.
But you're here every day. You should know that, but I'm here one day every 3 weeks. You know, you're even going to argue with me about that. That's fine.
Rainbow Road was put on.
Pardon me?
Rainbow Road had been put on.
When did we put that on?
It was after we sent out one on, I think, Friday.
Okay.
Also, it eliminated commissioner's commentary. I will say one of those was my fault because I had put the wrong date on the agenda. So then I sent out, one was my.
Can we hear everybody that speaks up there?
I'm sorry, but
I said, can we hear everybody that speaks up there, Ms. Dawes, this lady here? When they speak, we need to hear them.
well, I'll tell you what we can do. We can take about a 5-minute recess. So if there's anyone that wants to leave, they can, won't feel awkward. We'll take about a 5-minute recess, then we'll come back here and set until we adjourn the meeting. So we'll take a 5-minute recess right now.
I mean, I was asking what to do, but I can't, you understand.